Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about Chrysler and its progression to build a crossover. Now there's been some breaking news that we posted on Mopar Insiders yesterday, but I figured we would go through this and kind of talk about how Chrysler became on this path of building a crossover and kind of like what's going on with it. So the first thing I want to show you is back in 2020, yes, 5 years ago, at CES, Chrysler introduced, and mind you, this is before Stellantis. This is the precursor to Stellantis. This was a Chrysler designed buck, or a styling demonstrator that housed all this new Uconnect 5 infotainment like technology. And inside, what it did was it just kind of showcased this new Uconnect 5 system that before it had made it out to other vehicles and that, what its capability was. So this vehicle showed, or it's not really a vehicle, it's a demonstrator, I should say. It showed like basically new passenger screens, new infotainment systems for the back for passengers, and just showed how like this new cabin could be, connective to everybody inside and outside the vehicle. So it was kind of really high tech and revolutionary for the time. But this was kind of, if you look at the exterior styling of the buck, it kind of showed something that was to come, later, and we really didn't know it yet. We just thought it was just, it's just a shell. Fast forward 2 years, because we had COVID and CES was canceled, Chrysler ended up having a huge presentation at CES. Matter of fact, Christine Fuel, who was the brand new CEO of the brand, introduced this vehicle. This is the Chrysler Airflow concept vehicle. This is a 5-passenger crossover based on what we know now as the Stella Large architecture. And if you want to talk stats, we're talking 2 EDMs, one on the front axle, one on the rear, and it basically all-wheel drive. Each motor had 201 horsepower, so for a total of 402 horsepower. It was supposed to get a range of around 500 miles, and it was a nice, package. It was a D-segment SUV. So basically, overall, it was about the size of a Tesla Model X. A little bit lower in the greenhouse kind of design, but very aerodynamic. Took the name from the 1930s Airflow, Chrysler vehicle that was kind of known for its aerodynamics, but however, never really made it into anything, but has become an icon since. So it was kind of neat seeing that nameplate back on a vehicle that was supposed to be an all-electric vehicle. Now, this vehicle was really, really developed at the time that it was shown off. This vehicle actually was kind of teased a few months before during Chrysler's EV Day 2021 presentation. They had showed very small clips of it. Ralph Gilles showed, what could become of the Stella Large architecture once they announced it, but they had never talked about it. They didn't say what the name of the vehicle was. They just showcased a couple of different teaser images. But now we were seeing the actual finished product, and it looked really good. The interior was really well done. The exterior, while it wasn't revolutionary by any means, it looked handsome. It looked like a Chrysler, and it actually showed a brand new wing badge for the Chrysler brand. But overall, it was pretty impressive for something that we hadn't seen a new product from the brand since 2017. So going in aggressively into a new market, even if it is electric, into a crossover market where it's probably one of the most competitive in North America, was going to be pretty interesting for the Chrysler brand. Again, we got to see the Uconnect 5 system at its best, showing passenger screens, basically this new infotainment system set up for the rear passengers, which could allow you to, if you're in the front, instead of looking behind you, you could use camera systems to see the passengers in the back and talk to them. It just made a lot of sense when we were talking about all this new tech going into vehicles, that they would showcase the Uconnect 5 system in that buck and then bring it into kind of a production version into this concept vehicle. But it got really good reviews. Everybody was really shocked at how well this thing did in clinics and stuff. So it looked like it was going to be pretty much a done deal that this thing was going to make it in the production place. Now, this is in January. Fast forward to April, and we're at the New York Auto Show, and we get a different version of this concept with a new grille design. So this is the Chrysler Airflow Graphite concept. Basically, it's the same exact design. However, now it's got a new wing badge on it, and this would be the wing badge that Chrysler is supposed to be adopting for its next generation vehicles. But it was more of an even betterly finished production ready vehicle, and it looked really good. Instead of having white with chrome accents, it had this almost, it wasn't black, but it was like this like graphite slash black metallic paint that looked really, really dark. No matter where you went on the vehicle, like if you've seen it in person, sometimes it would look gray, sometimes it would look black with a lot of metallic in it. It was a really cool looking color. And then they added bronze accents to it that really made it pop. And again, all the stats were the same. 201 horsepower EDMs with all-wheel drive, 5-passenger layout. The interior was pretty much the same. I mean, it looked like it was ready to go. So this one, it was even more finely polished, and I was really impressed with it overall. So it looked like it was a done deal. This car was going to come out. Even internally, they had given it a code name. So like all Chrysler vehicles have an internal code name, a platform code. So like the new Charger's LB, the Durango's WD, all that stuff. Well, this one was CA. And it kind of was fitting because Chrysler Airflow, even though that's not what it meant. It was just the designation that it got. But it sounded like this thing was going to go into production. And it was rumored to be going to be built at the Windsor assembly plant. So it sounded like everything was go, that they were working on development, and everything was positive about it. All of a sudden, we go not even a month, and Motor Trend has an article with Ralph Gilles, the head of Stellantis Design. And Ralph basically says, hey, the Airflow's not coming to the market. Apparently, Chris Fuel said that, being the new CEO in the company and stuff like that, she said, hey, I want something different. And it was kind of weird. He basically said the change of direction is credited to the Chrysler brand CEO, Chris Fuel, who wants to bring a fresh perspective and a new rulebook to the table. Gilles expressed his enthusiasm for Fuel's approach, stating that she wanted a vehicle that broke away from anything seen before, including the Airflow concept. As a result, the Chrysler design team had been tasked with surpassing their previous efforts and creating a crossover design that stands out. So here we go with a product that's pretty much done, right? Everything looks good. People like the way it looks. Chris Fuel says, no, I want something more edgy. So all of a sudden your production line, like the timeline, has been pushed back because now you have to redesign, even though if it's the same vehicle underneath, you still have to redesign the whole exterior. So all of a sudden this vehicle's been put on hold. So mind you, this is May of 2023, right? So the design studio's working on it. We waited and waited and waited, and we're trying to hear, what's going to happen to this vehicle. Well, we hear that all of a sudden that Chrysler's going to show off a new concept vehicle, and we get one in February of 2024. And this is the Halcyon concept. This is a vehicle that was a pipe dream concept. It's a Stella Large architecture vehicle. It's more of a sedan. And it is so futuristic and does not look like a Chrysler that it's kind of hard to actually think that it has anything to do with the Chrysler brand. Now, a lot of people either like this car or hate it. And I'm one of those people who don't like the design because it doesn't have anything based on any previous Chrysler vehicles. Not only that, but I'm one of those people where I'm very passionate about the Chrysler brand in general. And unfortunately, this vehicle, while it might look very striking in that, it was just another concept vehicle. We've been waiting for production vehicles at this point since 2017, and this is 2024, like early 2024, that this vehicle is being rolled out. And the hate for this vehicle went on a huge tirade online on Chrysler's social media things because this was an electric vehicle. Instead of being a more production-based vehicle, this was another concept that wouldn't come out, and instead was a pipe dream concept, meaning like the ideas behind this concept weren't feasible for reality. This is a electric car that has unlimited range. So how is that? Well, supposedly showing off by the video that it would run on tracks in the road that charge it during its journey. So, like here in Michigan, we actually have a road that will do that over in Lansing, but it's only like an eighth of a mile, and it really doesn't do much. It was just to, kind of like push the idea that it could happen. So there isn't many areas that this concept could do that. So basically, it was a concept that was trying to push the EV, stigma down our throat, saying like, hey, the EVs are the next best thing. But it was so far futuristic, it really didn't make sense, and it was just used as a design language kind of method for what was to come. Now, keep in mind, to me, it doesn't look anything like a Chrysler. It looks more like something that's like a mix between a Tesla and an Aston Martin. While it does look good on certain points, it just, to me, wasn't a Chrysler vehicle. So everybody's like, well, yeah, okay, what the heck? When are we going to get this new vehicle? Well, right about that time, I was at the Detroit Auto Show a few months before, and I took these pictures of the airflow. And this is after they announced that, hey, it's not going forward. I wrote a huge article about it on Mopar Insiders about Chrysler should have brought the airflow graphite to market. And if you look at my pictures, it's pretty amazing because the vehicle was very finished. It was very polished. It looked really good. It actually was getting more attention at the show than the Dodge Charger Daytona concept, which was kind of funny at the time because the Charger had a lot of build up to it, and nobody was looking at that, while most people were stopping to look at this thing. So again, crossovers are popular. This looked like it was going to be the future for the brand, and it just wasn't. So fast forward to today, we've been waiting for the the new version of this Chrysler Airflow to come to fruition, or whatever you want to say, and we get some interesting information. My co-editor Jared Belfour wrote an article up yesterday on Mopar Insiders about Chrysler's new C6X, which is the additional code name given to the updated version of the Chrysler Airflow. So even though it wouldn't have the Airflow name, whatever the vehicle to replace the Airflow, the C6X, whatever the name it was coming into production or whatever, basically Chrysler sent out a memo to its suppliers saying that the development has been suspended. And it's really weird because for how much money they spent on developing the Airflow and how much money they went into concepts and all this stuff to build a new design language for this vehicle, and then all of a sudden, hey, we're going to have a vehicle by the end of 2025, and they cancel it. On top of that, my friend Frank Rhodes Jr. contacted me and said, hey, CNBC 2 days ago is running an article on an interview they did with me back in November. So it took 2 months for CNBC to release this new article about, what the future of the Chrysler brand holds. And Chris Fuel's in that actual video stating several things that, hey, we're going to build a crossover, we're going to take and build refreshed minivans and all this stuff, and that the Chrysler brand's not going anywhere. But now we're seeing an actual internal memo saying, hey, it's not being built. So if we go down here, Jared wrote a lot of stuff about, about the vehicle and the interesting things of how it was supposed to come along. But here we see right here on this picture that Jared posted, this is an actual memo. C6X suppliers, urgent. Dear supplier, the C6X or CA program has been put on hold until further notice. Therefore, any spending associated with this program should be suspended immediately. If you have any questions, you can contact this person. We blocked it out, obviously. And then it says effective dates. So it goes in from the 6th, and right now I'm talking to you on the 10th. So, yeah, this was only a couple days ago. And then you look, it goes through until the end of the month. So, there's a couple things about this. We don't know what's going to happen right now with the Chrysler brand. Everything at Stellantis has been changing very rapidly. And a lot of these YouTubers I've been saying have been posting stuff about, hey, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen. Everything since Carlos Tavares has left, the whole Dare Forward 2030 agenda has been changing. And it's been changing very quickly at a rapid pace. Now, keep in mind, Christine Fuel said, hey, we're going to make Chrysler into a all-electric brand by 2028. Now, in the U.S., we've seen pushback against EVs. However, it's obvious that we're going to have EVs. There's states like California that have their their California Air Resource Board, and other states that follow along with suit with California to follow these new regulations. They're pushing forward with this 2032 deadline of not having any internal combustion engine vehicles sold in these states. That means 80% of the vehicles sold will have to be EVs, and 20% will be allowed to be plug-in hybrids or hybrids. So that's the interesting part, that Chrysler will actually need electric vehicles. It doesn't matter if it's Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, or Ram, there's going to be a need for electric vehicles, because even if Trump comes in and changes, let's say he gets rid of the EPA and all that, these states still have control over what they want to do for their emissions, and California sets the standard for that. So with all these states following CARB, they're going to need electric vehicles. That's how it is. But to cancel a vehicle that has been highly anticipated, it's going to be very interesting. So again, it hasn't been canceled, I should say. It's been suspended. And if you look at the actual thing again here, it says it's been suspended till January 31st of 2025. So the interesting part about that is are they just putting on hold because they don't know what they're going to do with the future of the Chrysler brand? Is it not going to be an all-electric brand anymore? It kind of looks that way. And we know Chris Fuel, when Tim Kuniskis left, Chris Fuel actually became the most senioritized management member for Chrysler Group. She got the Ram brand. She didn't. Obviously, Tim was gone for only a few months, but he came back, replaced her at Ram, and she's now controlling Chrysler and Alfa Romeo. With how the company's going, they're looking at putting more car people into the company again, and kind of doing what they did before Carlos Tavares. I wouldn't be surprised if Christine Fuel is going to be gone. She really hasn't done much for the brand. She doesn't look like she knows. She's not a car person, like she knows anything other than what she's read about the Chrysler brand. So, I mean, luckily that minivan, that Chrysler Pacifica and the Chrysler Voyager have done really, really good for the brand, especially in 2024, where those two vehicles, added with the addition of 5,800 units being sold of the Chrysler 300, were only 20,000 units off of Dodge, which has 4 vehicles. It had leftover units of its Challenger, Charger, and then it had 21,000 units of the Hornet that was sold, and then almost 60,000 units of the Durango. So pretty sad that a minivan can almost beat the entire Dodge lineup in 2024. It's only 20,000 units off. So it's going to be very interesting to see what's going to happen with this vehicle. I wouldn't put it past them that this whole electric program is being suspended, and because it's a multi-energy vehicle, that they might say, hey, we're not going to build it as an all EV thing anymore. We're suspending it. We're going to talk about it, and we're going to probably put internal combustion engines forward first, and then maybe work on either a plug-in version of it or a hybrid version of it, and then maybe do a BEV, a battery electric vehicle. I don't see them canceling the whole program. I see them suspending it for a while and trying to rethink the brand forward. So it's going to be very interesting for the next few months. This, like I said, again, this is like, we've been waiting for a new product for Chrysler forever. So it'll be very interesting to see what the brand does moving forward. If they're going to cancel that 2028 whole all-electric agenda, I'm pretty sure it looks like that's what's going to happen. So, but stay tuned. Like I said, every day is a different day, and everything changes like that right now. They're still looking for a CEO. Hopefully they'll find somebody that, will set the brand straight. And, it's just like I said, you can't trust anything you see out there, because even the information that we're getting, as soon as we get it, something else changes. It's really weird, because they're on this path right now to course correct where Tavares had led them. And John Elkins really been good about the last few months trying to listen to what customers want, rather than we're going to build you vehicles and you're going to like it. So take that with a grain of salt. Hopefully things are going to change. Hopefully we're going to see a new Chrysler without an all-electric agenda. So that's all I'm going to say. But other than that, I'm going to be at the Detroit Auto Show today. And stay tuned. I'm going to be posting live video. We're going to talk about the new Ram heavy-duty trucks that are hopefully there. And I'll be going through the floor, doing some live streaming as well. So stay tuned. Make sure to hit subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.